ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on this week's episode, we'll be talking about the movie The Dark Knight Rises. But of course, before we get to any of that, I am joined today by hothead Nathaniel Gingrich.
That's me. I'm the hothead, just because I was always angry as a child in my foster care.
Were you?
No.
Foster care. This is a different origin story than I remember.
Well, yeah, you see, I grew up at St. Smithens or whatever it was. Smithwick's, something like that.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
And I can just tell. I see another orphan, and I can just see it in their eyes, It's the mind meld that all orphans share. We have no secrets from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man. It seems like you got a little friend group going.
Yeah, it's a little known thing about orphans. They all have telepathy.
But you're not an orphan. How would you know?
I'm saying I was. Hothead Nathaniel is.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is, bro.
Debunked. Fake news.
For a minute here, fellas, I thought we were going full circle back on the Malignant train.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was adopted.
Wait a minute, what are we talking about? Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's
Shout out
me.
Malignant.
Shout out Malignant. Released 3 years ago
Also-
this week
Yes.
at time of recording.
Crazy that we recorded that in real time. How time
that
flies.
Is, yeah. Time does fly, though, for sure.
Yeah, man. Also joining us today is Peacetime Ty, Tyler Verdalis.
I'm all about the peace.
Are you?
Yep.
You like Tony Stark?
Mm-hmm.
What movie is that where he's talking about like peace and...
I've successfully
Is that
privatized world
first
peace.
one? Yeah.
No, it's
that's
the second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when he's in the Senate hearings in the second one.
That's right.
But I did you a big favor.
I'm mad that they're gonna get me back for Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like, we throw one of these every time with a purchase of 15 billion or more. And then he takes a glass and then he's like, to
Yeah.
peace. And then just gets in the Hummer.
That's in the first one.
Yeah.
That's classic. When's the last time you guys have watched that one? I'm sure Ty, he's like, oh, watch it.
It's been within the last 5 months.
Ooh, the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was probably
Years,
when we
for
were,
sure.
maybe me and Tyler were living together. It was the last time I saw it.
Probably. I have that effect on people.
That wouldn't be a bad one to put on the short list.
Yo, yeah, the classic starts the universe. Considering we have much worse films in that universe on here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely some time. What about you, Adam? Are we going back a few years? Or?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Been a long minute, actually. Probably pre Endgame Infinity War at least.
Yeah, I'm probably with you on that too.
Somewhere in the 2015 to 2018 range, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely worth a rewatch. Sometime soon, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Rounding out the squadron, of course, over there is Big Bane BlakeHolder.
Hey, we'll take the name this week. I like it.
Yeah, I was debating going with Big Bat Blake because of the Bat vehicle hovercraft thing, but
Yeah.
Bane felt to fit more.
Now,
right,
a large
course.
bat wouldn't be. I think I'd be okay with that too. Those would be
Big bat,
terrifying
big-
in real life, though.
like a big
Bats.
actual bat.
Yeah, those would be terrifying if they got. 6 feet
Yeah.
Oh, if,
Yeah,
if there's a 6
well,
foot bat, yeah.
I think a 6 foot anything that's not
There's
you know,
you might-
already 6 feet.
That's a good point. You find anything that's 6 foot that's
Horrifying.
not supposed to be 6 foot, and
Yeah,
that's an
if-
instantly
yeah.
unsettling experience.
Exactly, man. You could throw a 6 foot, ant in front of me, and I'm probably gonna be disturbed. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think insects are the most.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the
Scary
common
thing.
ones. Yeah.
And what's
Yeah,
crazy
man.
is in prehistoric times they were 6 feet big or long or whatever because the atmosphere was different.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna say,
yeah.
don't they think that was because it was like radiation or whatever?
Um,
It used to be way
I don't know
more
if it's-
radiation.
Was it
might
global
have been
warming?
that.
Is that what it was?
I thought it was different atmospheric conditions.
I think that's also
That just
fair,
allowed-
maybe.
Yeah, I'm obviously not a scientist or historian
Yeah,
or
for
whatever you
sure.
want to call that.
No,
I
that
don't
is
even know what
tickling
profession that is, but-
something in my brain though. Is like you had to grow that size in order to be able to sustain life,
right?
kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
There was something. The atmosphere was composed of either a different
Yeah.
composition of what we have now, like different balance, or there was a different
Right.
element in the air. Yeah, it was something along those lines. I'm pretty sure. And now, like insects just wouldn't like survive at that size. I don't know. I pray they wouldn't. I don't need them. I don't need those things to start growing, man.
Oh yeah. The top of my list off kind of the top of the head would be a praying mantis for sure.
Oh my
I would be terrified.
god, that'd be terrifying. Yeah,
Life size. Yeah.
but also consider arachnids, dude. Anything. I've said this
Oh,
before.
Yeah.
I'll say it again. You got 6 legs. We can be best buds. All right. The second you go over 6 legs, we're not cool anymore.
Yeah.
We're not cool anymore. And I think most people should live by that. That is my insect law that I live by. And I won't go back on it, no matter how much you try to convince me that like I need to not kill millipedes because they actually hunt the bugs I don't want. I don't care. They freak me out, and they're not staying anywhere in my near vicinity. So,
But what if everything just grew to proportion though? So then at that point, humans were like 30 feet tall. Or I don't even know what the actual math would be. It'd probably be like 30,000 feet tall would probably be.
Yeah, I don't know
math
this
measure.
well, then I don't know if would we notice that the bugs got bigger.
I guess that's
Yeah, I
totally
mean,
valid. We would not.
I guess if the buildings all stayed the same, if it was just like all organic matter, then yeah, we'd probably notice. But
where would we sleep if all buildings stayed the same?
that's a great question, Blake. It's a really good question. I don't think there's how would we breathe? I feel like we don't get 6 times the atmosphere, then there's problems.
Yeah.
Bigger lungs, less air. I mean,
I'm sure some sort of what is that, like
lots of things.
Darwinism?
survival
Is
of
that
the
what that's
fittest.
called?
Yeah.
You'd probably have to learn how to sleep like standing up and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could sleep laying down, but just not in any
There'd
of
be
our
enough
current
like surface area
indus-
on the Earth.
Oh, I mean,
If
depends on how.
everybody was
Oh,
30,000 feet tall. You know?
I mean, I think it depends on how tall you're talking. Because if everyone's 30,000 feet tall, well, then when they stand up, I don't know how high up into the atmosphere like you can breathe like that. I mean, I don't. These are questions beyond my understanding.
your head would be at
Yeah,
like
for sure.
your head would
Yeah,
be
you're-
like negative 30 degrees in like in temperature, and then your feet would be 90 degrees. Like,
Yeah, that'd be really uncomfortable, dude.
How high do planes fly?
like 30,000
like
regularly. Yeah, because their
Yeah.
cruising altitude's 30,000.
Okay. So yeah, you're up there, as they say.
Yeah.
You are up there.
Okay.
Yeah, cruising altitude is between 30 and 42,000 feet. So, you know what? I don't think there'd be enough surface area for everybody to lie down.
There wouldn't be planes
Oh,
because
no,
you couldn't fit on one.
No. I meant going back to Blake's original point. How would you lie down to sleep? I agree. I don't think there'd be enough surface area for 7 billion, 30,000 foot tall humans to sleep.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll have to face
That's
that
several
problem anytime
miles.
soon. This is we've come up with a lot of hypothetical situations and scenarios on this podcast in 4 years. I think this is a bottom tier hypothetical that we've somehow gone off on a tangent on. But it's so fun to think about. I think. I don't know.
Gotta be prepared, man.
You got to be prepared.
The day
Just
when
about
we
anything.
wake up
What do they say in,
30,000 feet tall.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do they say in Pulp Fiction? He's like, there's known unknowns and unknowns unknowns. You know, that was
Yeah.
at least we know that now.
That is true. That is true. I would transition us into our main review segment here, gentlemen. But before we do, oh, and by the way, I don't think I said, or I did say we were reviewing The Dark Knight Rises. Before we get into that, I will give you guys a heads up. Blake, you've watched Furiosa, correct?
Oh yeah. Did you watch it?
I did. I did watch it over the
Yes.
weekend.
Can we please discuss
So
that for like 5 minutes in this podcast?
yeah, I think we'll do that after our main review.
Sure.
We would absolutely want to discuss that quick, and then I don't know, Blake and Ty or Nathaniel, Ty, did you guys give rankings in your episode?
Yep.
I tried to listen back. I couldn't. You did. Okay. Do you want to try to go off of those, or do you just want to give new rankings since it's been 20 or so episodes? Or no? How many would it have been?
Dude, that's a while ago. I mean, that was on release, and that release is what, probably March or something like that?
No, it was.
Yeah,
March,
that was 3 months ago. That was 192, so 12 episodes ago.
Yeah.
But I can go hunt down really quick where you guys said you ranked it. I meant to do that before we started recording. But I can either do that, or you guys can give new rankings if you just want to do that. But I'm going to give you guys a heads up that we'll be talking about that on the other end of the podcast. But of course, before we do that, we have to get through our main review segment, the most exciting part of the show. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment. We're going to be talking about the movie The Dark Knight Rises. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new or maybe they just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Well, listeners, if you're new or perhaps you've just forgotten, the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into 2 sections. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's the non-spoiler section, then there's the spoiler section. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself, who wrote it, who directed it, who's in it, all that good stuff. We'll go around the squadron and decide if we recommend the movie. It has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. From then on, we will be spoilers all the time. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, go ahead and check the show notes where we will have our spoiler time marked out for you, and come back in where we rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've talked about on the podcast ranked, like Furiosa we were talking about, but now we're going to do it with The Dark Knight Rises. Isn't that fun how that works?
Very fun. Very fresh. Cool. Yeah, this is The Dark Knight Rises. Doing our review of the trilogy slightly out of order. Well, maybe eventually we'll get back to Batman Begins at some point down the road, just to round it out. But we've, of course, reviewed The Dark Knight only a couple weeks ago. If you have not listened to that episode yet, go back and check that one out if you're interested. And we just had a free open week, and I've been meaning to rewatch this movie and kind of wanted to after watching Dark Knight. Blake threw it out there. We were looking for like a September-ish movie, and this movie does feel September-ish for me. I don't know what it is about it, but it does match for me. This is released in 2012, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 44 minutes, and it's got an IMDb rating of 8.4 out of 10. This, of course, is written and directed by Christopher Nolan. Also, writing credits go to Jonathan Nolan, and it's a story by Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer. The cast includes Glenn Powell, Christian Bale, Gary Oldman, Tom Nolan. Okay.
Glenn Powell top billing.
It's a Glenn Powell summer, baby. I don't care if summer's over.
True.
Then Glenn Powell summer continues. But yes,
he's getting his shoes cleaned or something.
Yeah, he's the finance
stockbrokers. Yeah,
yeah. I'm curious to see how far down this cast list he is. There he is. He's trader number 1. Poor Glenn. It's okay. It pays off. But we also have Christian Bale, Gary Oldman, Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anne Hathaway, Marion Cotillard, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and we'll go Matthew Modine, and I think I will stop there. And Ben Mendelsohn's here. You'd probably recognize him. And I'm going to stop there for sure now. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Bane, an imposing terrorist, attacks Gotham City and disrupts its 8-year-long period of peace. This forces Bruce Wayne to come out of hiding and don the cape and cowl of Batman again. Yeah, I mean, that is what happens. So yeah, we have the Dark Knight that ends. Batman runs off into the night. No pun intended. And this is now 8 years later.
Yes.
So, what'd you say?
I said yes.
Yes. I like when movies do in real time jumps, personally, where it's like, hey, Blade Runner 2049 released, whatever it was, 30 years after the original Blade Runner, and the movie takes place 30 years later. So I feel slightly cheated that this is only a 4-year difference in release dates, but an 8-year time difference in storyline. Now, does this matter? No, it's all fiction. But personally, I like when those things line up. But it really doesn't matter. I am watching this more than 8 years later, so it really shouldn't matter. But anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, what are our thoughts and feelings here, guys? This is one I also remember watching in theaters,
Real time.
and in real time. And being pretty excited for it, because obviously it's like, holy shit, like the sequel to The Dark Knight, as we talked about in our Dark Knight review. A lot of hype around that. And so then you have coming to this, and it's like, what are we going to get? Something even close to what we got before? How are they going to end this trilogy? All this stuff, all this hype rolling into it. And I don't think I've probably seen this only one other time since theaters. And I think that was probably in like the 2014, 2015 era, around there. So it's been a long time since I have seen this movie. Do you guys have memories of your first screenings? Anything you guys remember, like initial impressions from that time, or how has this movie grown on you guys since it's released?
Yeah.
Or not grown?
I remember catching this in real time back in, I think this is like a summer 2012 movie, maybe August or something, if I feel like I can put a date on it, August, July.
It was July.
But yeah, July? Okay. Huge showing, huge cultural impact, obviously. It kind of goes without being said. And a lot of anticipation because this was the follow-up to The Dark Knight. And I want to say, what's between The Dark Knight and this for Nolan? Is it Inception? Is that the lone movie between them?
Yeah, he does Inception in between.
Yeah. So like he was on a roll right at this point. So there's a lot of there's a lot of anticipation for this guy here. So yeah. And then I've seen it multiple times though. I mean, I saw it in theaters. And then since then, I mean, it's now a 12-year-old film, which is crazy to think about that 2012 was 12 years ago. I've seen this probably, I don't know, it's close to the amount of times I've seen The Dark Knight. I may have kind of a hot take on that between these two films. But yeah, I do like this a lot, and I've seen it a ton. I probably watch this film every 2 years or so.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was when this came out, because this, for me, was kind of when all of the shit of America sucks at gun control really kicked the fuck off.
Oh.
If you guys remember, it was this movie's premiere where that idiot went and shot up that theater in Colorado. And
I was wondering, I couldn't remember if that was this one or the previous one.
I always thought it was the previous one for some reason, but okay, it's this one.
It's this one, yeah.
Okay,
so
that was in Aurora, Colorado.
Yep, that was. I remember having a profound effect on me that day, and kind of like since then, and it's still like I check theaters now when I'm back there especially on opening nights and shit. Like, it's different. It's definitely different.
For sure. Absolutely, that's a good point.
But yeah, I mean the hype was definitely extreme. I think it was, I feel like Avengers and like the DC universe and in the different like event movies now have really stolen a lot of that thunder, and it's easy to forget how big this movie was at the time, and like how big culturally I think it was. But similarly to Blake, I think this is one I think I've seen more often than Dark Knight, just because Dark Knight always had that like, oh, like we're gonna get everyone together and like we're gonna watch Dark Knight, like it's a big deal tonight kind of thing. Where like Dark Knight Rises was like, I felt like that was the one that was on TNT more often or something,
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I'm positive on this one. I don't think. I feel like I remember there being a sort of backlash and people feeling like it wasn't as good as Dark Knight. But I also feel like I remember people being like, well, after the Heath Ledger fiasco and like popularity, and then obviously his death and the drama around that, like, of course it wasn't going to quite hit the same highs, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Tyler, where are you sitting?
I definitely like this film. I think most people would agree. I would. I think, you know, kind of on the same vein as what you were kind of just saying. I think The Dark Knight gets a little bit more of like a kind of more of like a prolific status just because of everything that was kind of like surrounding Heath at the time, and you know, it's just got a little bit more I guess grief to it, so I think people, you know, kind of hold that a little bit higher for some reason. I will say the more and more you do see The Dark Knight Rises, and I think most people would agree, the more you see it, the more you kind of realize that they are very much on the same level as far as, you know, how good the film by itself is. I think that Tom Hardy does a phenomenal job. I love the Bane character, and just, you know, kind of the story arc that this one took specifically. Kind of doing a rewatch on this one, I did kind of notice myself really liking the fact that Batman had to take more of like a physical approach to Bane. Bane is a very he's a fighter, dude. Like that's what he does. Dude's an absolute animal. He's known for being physical. Whereas, you know, you get to the Joker, it's not, you know, really a physical kind of game. It's more of a mental game. It's, you know, figuring things out and puzzles and, you know, things like that. So it's cool to see how much more physically prepared Christian Bale and, you know, Batman just as the character had to kind of be prepared for this one. And the choreographed fights, it just feels more actiony, which is very cool. So I think that was something I definitely took away from this last viewing. But yeah, I think you know, like I said, the more I watch this, I think I definitely hold this to the same standards as The Dark Knight. I do think they can go toe to toe together. I think it's just more or less whether you're a bigger fan of the Joker or you're a bigger fan of Bane, and, you know, I think it just, you know, they both do a good job. But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great.
I am pretty mixed on this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I remember liking it more than a lot. Like, I feel like some people gave this movie a lot of grief when it came out, just because it wasn't The Dark Knight. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think it was exactly what people were expecting, and they took it a little bit too seriously and like had way too high expectations, and, you know, it just kind of became one of those movies. And I think the public opinion has definitely changed, you know, since it came out. I'm still kind of like, I like this movie. It's, to me, it's not close to The Dark Knight in terms of like quality for me, or like enjoyment, but I do still think it's good. I do, like Tyler was saying, like the kind of what they do for the Batman character here. It's kind of not one we see often portrayed, where you get enough time to spend with the character where it's like, well, we've seen his origin story. We've seen him kind of at his peak, you know, take down the baddest bad guy there is, bring peace to Gotham, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then have to see him kind of rebuild himself after he's fallen. Like, we don't always get to see that, at least to like this kind of degree. I feel like in MCU we've kind of seen bits and pieces of that, but it's definitely more segmented, and we haven't seen it to like the degree that it's in this movie. And obviously this came before a majority of the MCU, so and the, you know, I think what they do with the Jason Gordon-Levitt, Joseph. Neither. I was like, Jason. J name. Joseph
Jackson Gordon-Levitt.
I like what they do with his character a lot, and I do think they try some interesting things here, but there are some things tonally that, like, coming off of The Dark Knight, I'm like, this doesn't. I don't always feel like this is like the logical place for Gotham to be, or there's some like jumps in logic that I don't fully align with, like where I would imagine things to be at. So, there's some things that I would change about like just how the story presents itself in terms of like what Gotham is at this point after the events of the Dark Knight, that kind of stuff, which we can get into more in spoilers. But this movie is still good. It's got I think really unique structure to it. With it's not a typical obviously it's going to still have the 3 acts, but I feel like there's definitely a first and second half of this, and it happens almost right halfway through the movie. And the structure of it is different, and it does stand out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but I had a good time, and I think Anne Hathaway is great in this movie, and I just want that to be known.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Any other big non-spoiler thoughts here, gentlemen? I think a lot of people have probably seen this movie, but
yeah, kind of hard to chat about non-spoilers. It's like a decade plus old, so I think unless anybody else, of course, has something to say, I think we're okay to jump into it. Do we think we're recommend all the way around?
Yeah, I think we'd be a recommend all the way around. This is definitely worth watching.
For sure.
Especially if you watch The Dark Knight and enjoy it, then yeah, this is a worthy sequel. That one. So, are we good with the recommend all around? Anyone object? Going once.
No, I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right. Well, that's a recommend all around then. We're going to go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen The Dark Knight Rises and do not want it spoiled for you, go ahead and check that episode description where we have left a timestamp you can jump to where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon our Entropy list. Spoiler time, Nathaniel.
Of course.
I didn't even hear what you said. I just saw your hands over your face.
Yeah. You're in a pit. Spoilers.
I think the Bane impressions are the best thing to come from this movie.
Yeah, they definitely picked up
It
quite a bit.
completely changed that character, like the whole Bane voice, like
Sure.
I was gonna say, does anybody remember what that was like when like the previews and kind of whatnot were
remember
first going through?
They
like,
changed
IMAX?
it. There's like you can
it was like almost unaudible.
Yeah, you can go and like
Inaudible.
still on YouTube, I think, find like what the original voice sounds like and like versus what it is changed to. And I remember that IMAX trailer being like, I don't know what the hell he sounds. It sounds like a garbage disposal, like gargling marbles or something. Like, it was it was bad. But I remember that. I remember everyone was like hating Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, like before they ever saw the movie.
No reason, dude.
As well too, which was crazy to me because I was like 21 at the time. I was like, no, she's hot. It'll be fine. Like, guys, it's gonna be okay.
And it was.
And it was. Yeah, she's great.
And she is.
Right on both accounts.
Yeah. Shout out Anne Hathaway.
For real. Yeah. How old is she?
Is this the first Anne Hathaway film we have on here, fellas?
No, Interstellar.
True.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, I mean,
She's
like
41 now. Well,
I could see that.
Missed the opportunity to get our boy William Dafoe again on the podcast this weekend. So
did we?
Yeah, he's in Beetlejuice.
He's in Beetlejuice.
That may have been enough to get me to watch that bullshit.
See?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, it is not bullshit. I didn't see it, but based off of overall numbers and just the first one, there's no way that movie could be like complete and utter dog shit. Like there still has to be some kind of redeeming qualities about it. I'm sure Nathaniel will tell us because he's seen it.
I did indeed. Bit of sizzle, folks. So here we are in spoilers. Shit goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. So I mean, I know Adam, you said you're kind of on the line about this one, for lack of a better term, but yeah, it's. You want to kind of like detail why that is? Because I mean, maybe it's a hot take. I think I actually enjoy this film more than The Dark Knight. I don't think it's a better film than The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think just kind of the larger scale per se just like does more for me. And I'm like, it's high stakes, bigger scale. I like it. And a ton of quotables. Bane
yeah,
is very
for sure.
quotable. I would say more quotable than Heath Ledger and the Joker, and Tom Hardy is Bane for sure.
Maybe.
I would think it's pretty close.
It's definitely close because Tom Hardy has some really good ones in
It
this.
also depends on kind of like the number you're looking at, because like Heath might just have like one line that's just been quoted over and over and over and over again more times, but Tom Hardy has more quotes throughout the movie.
Yeah, like why so serious is more iconic than anything Tom Hardy says in this movie. Like you know,
that's true.
Quote, you say that and people know.
Man.
I was gonna say I was born in darkness, molded by it.
Yeah. He's. They were clicking.
I still think if you walked up to someone on the street and said why so serious, and then you said that, like I don't think it's that close. I think everybody knows why so serious.
Is that?
Do you feel in charge?
Do you feel in charge?
The back of his hand on his shoulder is excellent.
I'm on your time, Captain.
Perhaps he's wondering why you shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
I forgot about that line. It's so good.
That would be incredibly painful for you.
What a great line to open up that character with. Like that is the first line you hear from Bane, and it's like, oh, I'm already kind of like.
Why is Sean Connery squeaking over there?
I'll even take it a step further, and I think I actually like the Bane introduction or the opening scene in this more than the Joker introduction in The Dark Knight.
Well, that was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask was which opening sequence do you guys like more?
I think I prefer the Dark Knight one, to be honest with you, but it's close. It's definitely close.
I think I like the Dark Knight opening more, and I think it works better. But the Dark Knight Rises opening is definitely like very technically impressive, like very like very like Mission Impossible as that piece and
a lot of practical effects in that, I believe.
Right, and I saw recently, and I don't didn't go and find the interview this was from or anything, but apparently Nolan said that the opening sequence from this movie is his most proud like filmmaking sequence or moment or scene or whatever. Like he's most proud of the opening to this movie, which is interesting. And kind of makes sense. I mean, it is very good. I just think the effect and the reveal at the end of the opening sequence in Dark Knight, where you reveal it's the Joker, and like you have the whole chain of like killing the line of the clowns and like the bus. Like I don't know. It's all really good. And I just think it's very effective there. But this is still a good one. It's up there. It's really.
I think they're too different for me. I'd really like to say I like one better than the other, but it's just there's something about bank robbery scenes that really just like tickle my fancy.
That's fair.
And it's still very kind of like street level kind of crime, robbing a bank, even though it is relatively elaborate. But obviously Joker's got one sole mission, and that is to fuck with Batman at any given moment, no matter the means. Whereas Bane obviously is being interfered with Batman, but he doesn't necessarily care about Batman. He cares more about the total outcome of whatever their movement is. So
that's fair. In regards to the dialogue of that opening scene, I know Nathaniel mentioned where you get the first verbiage from, or the first lines from Bane. He's like, he's wondering why he would shoot a man before throwing him out of the plane or something of that nature. What about the when he's like, if I remove that mask, like, will it be painful or something like that? If I remove that mask, will it hurt? He's like, could be very painful. You're a big guy. Yeah, it's like a double entendre. Yeah, it's a.
Oh,
yeah, man. I don't know, Adam. I hear you, but like I kind of don't, brother. This is a good film.
It is. It is. I enjoyed watching this movie. So I don't want you to interpret what I said in non-spoilers as like I don't enjoy this. It's a bad movie.
Okay.
That is not the case. I do enjoy this film, but for anyone saying this is the better of the best one in the trilogy, we can leave it there, or just better than The Dark Knight. I don't think. Not only do I not think that's true, I don't think it's all that close. Like, I can understand some aspects of it, but I don't to me, Dark Knight is still almost head and shoulders above this one, and this is still very good. But like, to me, Dark Knight still stands out as like the best of the three. But I still like this movie, but I just don't. I don't think it comes that close to The Dark Knight. And I'm glad that people
Where does it lose
have.
you? Sorry, go ahead.
So, oh no, you're fine. In terms of like the Gotham is it's peacetime in Gotham, great. But everyone has all of a sudden forgotten how to be a cop, so they are confused when the crime starts coming up. It's never really fully explained to me why Bane is obsessed with Gotham and like what connection he has to the city. Is it just that he wants to get revenge to Batman?
Well, it's kind of hard because you do have to remember that Talia is the one that is overall trying to kind of hit her master plan on Gotham. And Batman simultaneously, and he's just kind of the byproduct of her hate. So yeah, it's a little weird to kind of. That's one of the things I would say I actually like about the movie. The whole time they're just kind of painting it to believe that, like, Bane's the mastermind, Bane's the main villain, and by the time you're at the end, you see that he's just kind of doing whatever he's told, and it's really Talia, who is really the master behind everything, and she's the villain that you've been kind of chasing the whole time. So that's actually one of the things that I really like about the movie, versus just kind of having one person that is the mastermind. And that's, again, Bane was never really looked at either as kind of the one coming up with all the plans and stuff like that. He's always been kind of like that background villain, and I would count him throughout the comics and other various avenues that he shows up in the Batman universe as like more of like a B villain, not necessarily an A villain. But it's cool that he definitely gets his time in the limelight for a majority of this movie up until the end.
Very valid. Very valid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's
I do love that you're catching it. I just love that you're under the investigation light here. Blake's trying to get to the bottom of this. Like, he's never gonna stop. Like, you're gonna try and like beat around the bush with this question.
Just answer my questions, bro.
15 minutes later, he's like, yeah, that's cool, but like, why did that bother you?
An hour in, I'm like confessing my deep childhood trauma. Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest things I hated about this movie is that they teased a Robin so much, and Robin has become one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. Just seeing how the Robin characters developed into a Nightwing or a Red Hood, and seeing all those kind of develop, and then there's Damian Wayne at some point down the road who becomes Robin, who is Bruce Wayne's son, who is also Talia's son. So this goes way deeper, into the universe of the DC. But it is cool to kind of see all this. But yeah, that was one of my only gripes from the movie, that they tease Robin so much, and then I just don't get dick with it. And it's cool that it's James Gordon-Levitt, Justin Gordon-Levitt, Josh Gordon-Levitt. Who is it?
Joseph.
Julio.
Joseph. Got it. I was looking for all the J's. And he's easily become, one of my favorite actors as well. He's done a lot of stuff, and for all the viewers, I'm sorry that you're hearing me talk, and then it's afterwards I can't talk for very long. My nose is all stuffed up. I am under the weather.
All good. No, I agree with you. I wish they gave Julio Jordan, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I wish they gave him more of a Robin moment, because I mean they gave it to him at the end, obviously, but they invest so much into his character in this film. for not a ton of payoff, because obviously we don't get like a sequel to this one where it's like, here's our Robin trilogy where Robin is now the protector of Gotham. Like that doesn't really happen. And I don't think it would have been bad to like be like, hey, we are going to put Batman, Robin, and Catwoman all in this movie. And they set it up so well where like he's also an orphan. He kind of can, he's on his own, just off of instinct almost, discovers Bruce Wayne is Batman. And like that, it all kind of lines up to like they could have had that in the third act, and I don't think I would have been like, that stinks. Or like when I think if they wanted to line it up, I think like a good opportunity for them to be like, oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt finds the Batcave when Bruce is in the hole or whatever, and like starts maybe some kind of training, or finds a suit, or like that kind of thing, or something along those lines. Obviously you'd have to set that up a little bit differently. You can't just plop that in, but like I agree with you. I wish there was more of an actual Robin in this movie than what we got.
Right, opposed to just dumping it at the end per se.
Yeah. It's kind of like, they like gave it to us, but they didn't. You know what I mean? Like it is just, I don't know. I like the character a lot. I just think it would have paid off more if there was actually Robin there. But I don't know. Maybe you just didn't want to take too much screen time away from Bruce and Catwoman. But even, I mean, you want to break this down further. You were talking about how it's like the brute strength of Bane earlier. Maybe it's Bruce realizing, hey, I can't do this on my own. Obviously, he needs Catwoman to help out with some things, but like maybe the last fight scene could have been a 2-on-1 with Bruce and Robin. Like that would have been cool. Just saying.
Where do you land on the Pit and the return of Batman to Gotham afterwards?
Happens way quicker than I remember.
Okay.
He is in and out of that hole. And pause, but
for station identification.
Yeah, right.
We'll be right back. Music plays.
Sorry, let me rephrase. He's not in the prison hole very long.
I don't know if that's much better.
Maybe not.
Prison hole is definitely a term on Urban Dictionary.
For sure.
We'll just call it the Pit.
He's not in the dark hole? Is that?
He's in the pit.
He's in the pit. Which is funny because he does say, when I was in the pit or something like that in here, I was like, I'm in a pit.
Michael Caine. He's like, there's a pit.
He's out of there quick. Much faster than I remember.
Shout out to the real hero of this franchise, which is Cillian Murphy's The Scarecrow, who just gets his ass beat in the first movie and is just doing chaos the rest of the franchise. Apparently, with zero repercussions. Like, he's never in jail.
They just don't explain how he gets in between movies or like what happens to him. He's tied up the last we see him, and all of a sudden he's just thriving.
Yeah.
He's a judge, dude.
Yeah, he's like a juror. Yeah.
Yeah, he's official.
Yeah. He just what does he give everybody the choice of exile or death?
Death by exile.
Or death by exile.
Death by exile. Great.
Good quote as well.
Great line. Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Pit, though? We glossed over that quick. Blake, Ty, are you guys pro Pit? Do you like that sequence?
I think I mean, I'm not going to say I'm like overly fond of it, but I think what I do value the most out of this film is that we're able to see like Batman struggle, which we didn't really see in the first or in the second film, I should say, between like the Bane fight or the first Bane fight, which obviously has a ton of quotables as well, straight out of the comics, and then trying to climb out of the pit, for lack of a better term, and then jump through it. So yeah, I mean, that was redeeming. I'm like, okay, at least we're able to see like, well, he is human. He's a superhero, but he's like a vigilante. Doesn't have superpowers, right? And you first time you kind of see him as an actual man. But I do think it was kind of a quick turnaround, and like I always struggle with like, do they tell us how he gets there, or do they show us how he gets there? I feel like he gets his ass beat by Bane, and then like the next time you see him, he's just like crippled like somewhere in like Turkey, and I'm like, I don't really understand how he got there. So okay, I thought it was just me, but yeah, that's probably
they do just he does open his eyes in the pit, which like
which we have no idea where that is either.
It could be right outside of Gotham, honestly. I mean,
desert.
We really don't know.
It's clearly a desert.
All right, he's right outside of Vegas.
He's in there for, I believe the timeline is like 5 months or something. Like 5 or 6 months is how long he's technically in there.
Yeah. Right, because he's in there for a minute.
He gets his spine pushed back in.
Yeah, that clearly doesn't happen very quickly.
Yeah.
That old dude in there though should start a practice, dude.
Yeah, he's the father of chiropractic. That's where it came from. Chiropractors.
Well, that guy's not even the doctor. The other guy is.
Yeah.
That guy just.
No, he's the chiropractor. He's just.
Yeah.
He's the one. He's like, I've seen somebody do this once, and I feel like if I manipulate this will work.
Yeah, I wish my physical therapist would just be like, we're gonna raise your shoulder. Let me know when you can move it again. Like, I wish that worked out like that. I wish I could put my feelings into words better than I can, but I don't know. It is in terms of scale.
I hear you.
It's
I feel
definitely more ambitious than Dark Knight. You do have more, set pieces, more people, more action sequences, I would say. Bigger sets, like that kind of thing. So, it does have that going for it. It could be, I think someone said earlier, it's one that you can put on more casually than the Dark Knight, that's for sure.
I think
it's very good at that.
I think earlier you were saying it's a pretty big shift in tone between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, and I think that is true. Like, I think there is a lot of stuff that like is maybe a little bit set up in Dark Knight in Dark Knight that doesn't get maybe the payoff or isn't as tied as tightly together as Batman Begins and Dark Knight is. And I think part of that is just, the fallout from Heath passing away and kind of everything off of that and having to kind of adjust from there and just, them setting it 8 years later and that kind of thing. But I think it is a to your point, it's a different feeling movie in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. In theory, it's got everything I want, and I don't think it's I think it's a good movie. So like, you asked me to say why I think it's not good. I can't really tell you because I think it's good, but I just don't. To me, The Dark Knight is just more impactful overall, and there's a lot that goes into that this movie just can't replicate. For whether it's the Heath Ledger thing, whether it's just Heath Ledger's performance as a Joker, regardless of that, like,
sure, tighter script as well.
Tighter scripts, kind of a smaller scale, tighter story. It's definitely
for sure.
Obviously these are both based in Gotham, but this feels like more of an outside world. Like, they sing the American national anthem. They talk about other cities. They obviously the pit's in a different country, like a little bit bigger scale in that sense in terms of like the world surrounding Gotham. So this movie's not bad though. I do like this movie.
Sure. Speaking of the national anthem, obviously they have the famous, infamous, I should say, the football scene in here.
That football scene is awesome.
It is. They actually had Hines Ward in there, who's obviously a great player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The film takes place in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's got one of the Pouncey brothers. I can't think of which one it is because they're identical twins. They both look the same, of course. So yeah, there was like 2 actual NFL players who were on the Steelers to get like quick face shots in there. So that was pretty cool. And that's an awesome scene. That's a very like Christopher Nolan scene to me. Then then the Bane comes out.
Oh yeah.
Dude, imagine if he did that practical.
Just actually blew up Heinz Field for sure.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
That wasn't real.
in your heart it is.
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. No,
I
that
like
was
it. They even kept the colors too, which was cool too.
They did,
Yeah.
which was good. Made me want to buy like what were they, Gotham Bandits? What are they? Gotham what? Forgot what they are.
Something
I
like
don't
that,
know.
wasn't it? Yeah.
It's
No,
something like that because I was trying to read the name they were playing against, like when the kicker lines up to kick
Oh, it's
it
like
off.
Riverside
It's like
or
a
something.
Rush City,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. I totally had it, but I totally yeah, something like that. But I want to say
I'm gonna
they
find
were the
out.
bandits or something Rush. Is it Gotham? Something Rabbits?
The Rogues.
Is it something
that it?
Rabbits?
Rush City Rogues.
No, Gotham Rogues, and then I don't know who they play.
It's either something Rapids or something City. Rapids.
It's like Rapid City, I think it is.
Yeah, that sounds right. Nonetheless,
Yeah,
cool scene. Shout out Hines Ward, awesome player.
that is one of the scenes I remember looking at growing up because they put that in the trailer. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Correct.
And that was one of the ones where that's when I first like realized like I don't want to watch trailers really. like that's like an instance where it's like, could you imagine not seeing that in a trailer? And then you go to this football sequence and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see like what happens. And then you like he blows up the football field on a kickoff return as the guy is like running off like, dude, that's such a sick shot that I like couldn't believe I knew what was about to happen before that football sequence. Like that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch trailers anymore, and my life has been amazing. And you know what? I've seen all the movies that I want to see, and my life has been fine. So I recommend stop watching trailers. But anyway,
Gotham Knights.
Okay, so that's the team.
No, they're the Rogues.
I'm other names that they've been known by are Gotham Knights and
that's what they're in Justice League, right?
Gotham
Cyborg
Wildcats.
play for one of them.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, then flipping tones. Then, what about in regards to the first time Bane and Batman kind of meet each other? Obviously, Bane knows who Batman is the entire time. He calls him Mr. Wayne. And Catwoman pretty much like lures him down there. It was like, hey, I had to get him off my back. And then he's like, you've made a great mistake. And then Bane comes in with another phenomenal quotable line, right, for their first time meeting each other. What were your guys' thoughts on that? And especially seeing that in real time, then like, how has that aged to you? Because that's pretty much the first time we've seen like Batman. He gets his ass handed to him. Haven't really seen that in film.
Really quick, they play the Rapid City Monuments.
That's what it is. It was Rapid something.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, Batman getting the shit beat out of him.
Yeah, how was that for you all? Like on first viewing, if you could take yourself back, or even just fast forward to now, like how has that scene aged to you all? Because it's the first time we've seen that on film, and it's a beat down for sure.
It's great. I love it.
And I love that like Bane's like just letting him do whatever he wants, thinking that he's ahead. But at no point in that fight do you think Bane's like actually in trouble. You know, that first time they go head to head there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they fight choreography is really great, and the whole like, oh, you think darkness will save you? I was born in the dark. When I saw the light, I was blinded by it. Like, so good. And then you see Batman right there. Yeah, I think that whole sequence works well. And then when they fight later on, it's very like Dune 2-esque.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say like, all right, we can't let him get that off right now, fellas.
No, I'm just playing. But yeah, no, it's a good. I got to get my weekly Dune 2 reference in there. You know, I have to. But yeah, their fight sequence at the end, and there was a clip that went around on Twitter that I remember watching a couple weeks ago, whatever it was, of Bane during their fight in front of, I don't know what building that is, if it was the courthouse or.
Oh yeah, but
the final like big battle, at the end of the movie. I forgot what building they're in front of, but it's got the big columns, and Batman ducks under what Bane's punch, but Bane still gives like 2 more punches to the column just for
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that is good. It is really, really
just
good.
swanging.
Yeah. But no, good.
He's ferocious, dude.
Good fight choreography. Although I will say, like, leading up to that final battle, it is funny just watching like Bane like gut punch somebody and then like they just fall on the ground. It's just like he's just like throwing people and like they just are not gonna get back up at all. It's just a little dramatic. Just
he's one tapping everybody.
I do wish that there would have been some kind of venom or serum or something that he takes. I've always seen that version of Bane. You know, I do. It's something that I think is very iconic. I don't mind the direction that they took. Obviously, I'm very happy with Tom Hardy's version of Bane and kind of everything that came from it. But you can kind of see it a little bit. They gave him a little bit when Batman finally did break his mask off a little bit. It kind of sent him into overdrive, which is kind of cool. So it just kind of alludes back to what he said at the beginning, that it would be very painful for you. So he can obviously deal with quite a certain amount of quite a bit amount of pain. So
yeah.
That's a good callback to that first scene.
For sure.
Adam, what were you gonna say?
Who do the fellas prefer as Catwoman? Anne Hathaway here, or I believe it's Zoe Kravitz, right? In Ben Reeves' Batman.
Halle Berry, baby.
Or Halle Berry. We could go Halle. We could throw in Halle Berry too.
That's one we can put on the short list. That could very well end up as the worst film on here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Someone sent me a clip the other day of Halle Berry on the basketball court.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna
fighting
say,
Benjamin
have you
Brad.
seen that movie, Adam?
And then I was like, "That's a
That
wild
basketball
clip from a
is
movie." And then I
crazy.
found out it was from Batman, or is it from Batman or is it
It's
from
Catwoman.
Catwoman?
Catwoman.
Is it just
It's from
Catwoman?
She has a
Stand-alone?
standalone film.
It's actually from Scream.
That's nuts.
But yeah, I was gonna say, have you seen that? Because
I've not.
that fucking scene alone would put that film like
Dude,
at the bottom that we have.
I don't know if you guys have
It's like
seen
90,000 cuts, and it's like a 20-second scene.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's the horniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, dude, go watch that clip if you haven't, because holy crap. And the fact that on a elementary school playground,
There's like kids in the background.
there's kids, and they're like, I don't know, they're like rubbing up on each other. It's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah. Every time I see, we'll get back to your original question for sure.
Yeah.
But every time I see that, it just makes me think of like, okay, how bad were they at basketball where they actually had to make that scene look like that? Or like they couldn't just have like, all right, you can do a few dribbles and shoot the ball. You know what I mean? I don't even think it was possible.
Probably pretty bad, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's funny. To the question though, I mean, I think you would have to imagine though, we get way more screen time of Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman than Anne Hathaway in this, right? I haven't done the
I think we do.
analysis on that, but I imagine.
Yeah, she's a much bigger part of
close
that
to
movie
double.
than I think she is. Yeah, probably than Anne Hathaway is in this one.
Yeah, I think I like the Batman version, so Zoe Kravitz, because she's more of like an actual cat burglar, which is pretty cool. You only get like a small glimpse of that in like the first act of The Dark Knight Rises, right? Then after that, she's just kind of like, hey, you should go here, fight these guys. Hey, you should go here, fight these guys. Pops up, beats somebody up, gives an apple back to a kid, so we can be like, okay, she's actually not that bad.
Right.
She is kind of a hero. I feel like that's all we get out of her.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
She has a great moment with Keeley from Ted Lasso.
Is that her friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize her. I like kind of knew I recognized her, but I like didn't put that together. That's
Juno
hilarious.
Temple. Yep.
Wow. Makes sense now. Yeah, I like Anne Hathaway a lot in this, and I just remember her getting hated on for pretty much no reason. But I do think Zoe Kravitz's version of Catwoman is probably a better like portrayal of the character. But she's, still a good character in this. I do love when she does like the whole cartwheel on the prisoner's wrists.
Yeah,
In that scene, that's really good. Yeah.
And
final,
with,
go ahead.
I was gonna say with Anne Hathaway, you kind of get a parallel to Heath Ledger's Joker, where Batman's like, "Let her go," and he's like, "Very poor choice of words." Where you kind of get the parallel to that, where I can't think of the guy's name, where he's kind of going through and he's upset, and he's like, "And can we please get some women in the room?" And he walks into the room, then she's standing in there, and I forget
I think she's careful what you ask for.
Yeah. So you kind of get that parallel too, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Ben Mendelsohn. And final question before we get out of here is: would Dave Bautista have made a better Bane than Tom Hardy?
No,
not back in 2012. Now, if this movie's made in
I was gonna say
22, absolutely, it's Dave.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, maybe I should have set that question up like that. Then, if this movie was made, in both of their primes, let's say, if we took this Tom Hardy compared to where Dave Bautista was shortly after Avengers or something like that, I don't know. I think in terms of look, Dave Bautista definitely, I think, would fit that look better for the character. But in terms of portrayal, who knows? But
I'm still a no. I still think Tom Hardy's a better actor.
He is.
Hardy is a good actor.
He is.
Not to tarnish Batista's name. He's obviously come a ridiculously long way from WWE fighter to putting some really, really killer performances together. But I think Tom Hardy's got him beat a little bit, for me at least. Size wise, obviously he's a bigger dude, but movie magic, baby.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing that I caught on this watch that I haven't caught before was where they keep showing the flashbacks in the pit or the hole, as we were jokingly saying earlier. We'll keep the joke running. That the child is Joey King. And I was watching this and it didn't hit me till this time watching it, and I was like,
"Oh my god,
Joey King!"
Yeah.
Oh my!
And then I looked it up, and then it was, and I was like, "Oh, of course, how did I not piece that together the other fucking 15 times I've seen this movie?"
Oh my god, is it?
Yep,
100%.
Definitely Joey King. Yeah,
it is.
And once you look at it, you can totally see.
Now you're like,
now I'm like,
oh my god!
Oh.
Wow.
I think that's Joey King. Yeah.
Wow.
So makes sense though. 2012, she was a phenomenal child actor at that time, which is a good actor, to be fair. But just between this, The Conjuring, the following year, I think they were like, we just need a prominent child actor who's the best one we can get. And she's in there for, I don't know, it's probably 50 seconds.
Sure.
At most. Yeah, I mean, she's got to be an Olympic, long jumper or whatever it's called, because I don't know how you're closing that gap.
That is kind of strange too. Where you're like, the only person who's done it is a child. I'm like, man, who the fuck were they?
The only person who's done it is a person with a 3-foot wingspan or 4-foot wingspan. Oh well, movie magic,
All you need is what did they say? Was it hope? Survival?
I think it's hope.
Not be afraid or some shit.
A lot of hope. A lot of hope in this movie being thrown around.
Yeah. It's like Fast and the Furious with family. That's all you fucking need. You can accomplish anything. So.
It is just like Fast and Furious. I think that's the first time The Dark Knight Rises has ever been compared to any of the Fast and Furious movies, but I digress. All right, fellas. Well, I think that'll have to do it here. We're running a little long on time for spoilers, or on the review itself. So welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoilers segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and throw The Dark Knight Rises up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of all the movies we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. It's essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Where are you putting it, people?
That's a great question.
Dark Knight Rises is at 9.
You mean Dark Knight?
Oh yeah, sorry.
No worries. It happens.
The Batman is at 31.
Good comparisons. Good comparisons.
Mm-hmm. Tough.
This might be a pretty split one.
This actually is tough. Yeah. Excuse me. I think I know where I'm gonna go.
Run it.
Yep.
21. So I actually like this more than The Dark Knight, but I still understand it's subjectively not a better film. I do like it more than The Batman, so that kind of puts me in the middle. Then I'm looking through the rest of these, and it's like, okay, yeah, we'll see. Oppenheimer, another Nolan. I think I do value this film more than Oppenheimer. And I think that was kind of just my quick reasoning. Then it's hard to put over Blade Runner 2049. And then Interstellar, I think, is like arguably Nolan's best film. So it's definitely couldn't go above that.
Very sound ranking, sir.
That's where I'm at.
What was the number? I'm sorry.
21.
21.
21.
21.
21. Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Or it is, yeah, but we used to say it at the store all the time.
Yeah.
It was a Nestor thing.
Shout out
Wow.
Nestor, dude.
Yeah, shout out that guy.
Yeah, bro, Nesto.
That's me and Tyler on the same page there.
Yeah. So let's see where they lie. Let's see if we're on the same page even more.
I'm gonna be 31, right above the Batman.
Dang.
Right below
We are
Lord of the Rings.
We are a little split. I'm gonna use Dune as my gatekeeper. Dune Part 1. I think that movie doesn't get enough credit for what it is. I said it, way back in the day, and I've said this multiple times that this movie and this trilogy was gonna be way bigger than it was being anticipated to, and look where we're at with Dune Part 2. But Starship Troopers is obviously one that I hold in heavy regards. Godzilla -1 as well. But I think this is vastly better than Requiem, Me Too Mama, Jadis. So yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit higher. Then I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm just gonna do 35.
Yeah.
I do love Back to the Future, but the rewatchability just isn't there all the time for me. I think I would have a much easier time just throwing this on and being like, I could just vibe with this for a couple hours.
Yeah. That's valid.
Dude, I'm
Nathaniel, Adam?
I'm really trying not to ruin anyone's day.
You can do whatever you want, bro.
Yeah, man. Just say it.
Nathaniel, do you have a ranking yet?
Yeah, I said 31.
Yeah, you said 31.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so I'm the last one.
It's not our fault. La La Land was dog shit, and you like it.
That's not. I can't use that as a gatekeeper because that is just so far out of where I want it to be that it's not fair for me to use it as gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put this pretty low, but I think I have to use realistically Civil War as a gatekeeper.
That's cool. I figured that's
a line of. Yeah, it's a line of Civil War, Nope, John Wick, Long Legs, Conjuring. Those are good movies. And then if you want to skip past those, Spirited Away, and you guys are putting this movie above Training Day, Kill Bill, Dunkirk, Godzilla minus one.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's just like that's a murderer's row, and like I'm not mad at you guys putting this movie above all of those. I can understand, but for me, just like the overall personal enjoyment just isn't there for me. Where I'm like looking at all these movies that I really really like, and so I think 58 below Civil War, above Suzume. Suzume, another movie I will defend. But yeah, I think that's dude.
Suzume.
Cat.
I should rewatch that.
It's good, man. It's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah, I'll leave that at 50. But I say 58.
58, yeah, below Civil War, above Scream.
Yeah. Above Scream.
Any love?
No.
Fair enough. All right.
You're not either, man. Come
on. That's true.
Don't so with all that being said, that does give us an average rating of 36.25. So it puts us below Avatar: The Way of Water and above John Wick Chapter 4. All things considered, I don't think that's that bad of a spot.
No, for sure. That's fair.
I really don't
where
think,
I put it, dude.
Yeah, I know. You were right. Fair. You were right on it. I think that's a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad no one was too upset. Cool. Dark Knight Rises is now at 37, below Avatar: The Way of Water and above John Wick Chapter 4. While I have the entropy list in front of me, gentlemen, I think this is going to be our first double entry in one episode in a while, and I guess it's kind of cheating because it was kind of entered, but we should put Furiosa back on or onto the entropy list, as
you both got
Tyler and Nathaniel did give us a review of that movie a couple months ago.
I don't care anymore. I gotta go, guys. I'll talk to you later. Tyler Dallas.
Dude. Yeah, I think that was episode 192 was Furiosa. I can't find your rankings. Do you guys remember, or do you guys just want to re-rank them?
I don't remember, but they were high.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was number one.
I can't tell if Nathaniel's dead ass right now or if he's semi-trolling. I think he's semi-trolling.
Put it at number one.
If the guy says it, he says it. You got to take him as his word.
I'm pretty sure that's where I had it, if I remember correctly.
I'm trying to listen back right now.
We'll take it. We'll take it as number one. It'll skew the data, ladies and gentlemen, and however you identify, but we'll accept it nonetheless.
Well, while I listen to where they try to
pretty sure we did.
Blake,
it'd be very funny if we didn't. We just make Adam listen
you just
to
didn't rank it, and I gotta listen to like 12 minutes.
Maybe we might have said that we were gonna wait until you guys saw it because we were.
I don't remember. I'm trying to listen, but while I do this quick, Blake, do you want to give your thoughts on Furiosa while I scrub through this?
Yeah, so I'll kind of talk to the group here and to any listeners. So yeah, I caught this. I actually watched it on the plane going up to for business travel.
Sure.
And yeah, it was like the right time. It's like a 2-hour and like 40-minute movie. The flight was like 2:30 something, so it was totally on par and just much better than I thought it was going to be. Ties back into Mad Max Fury Road. The action sequences are awesome. You can see that what's his name? Chris Hemsworth is just having the time of his life right with this. And yeah, it's all in all, it's really good. I do think Anya Taylor-Joy is a phenomenal actress, and it's really nice to kind of see her branch out into like a full action role, which I don't think I've really seen off the top of my head. So yeah, it was cool to kind of see her in a different color palette per se. And yeah, it's just much better film than I thought it was going to be. And it's a shame that film didn't do anything in the box office. And it's hard for me to complain because I'm one of the reasons why that shit wasn't in the box office, because I didn't watch it in theaters. However, it's a shame that wasn't in theaters for a long time, because it's like, man, I would have loved to see that movie in IMAX. And the fact that they made it for, I think it was like 180 million or 190 million.
Yeah.
It's like a little cheaper than you would have imagined. It's just unfortunate, man, they didn't capitalize on that. But yeah, all in all, great film. Stylistically, it's awesome. The dialogue's awesome. The action's awesome. Yeah, dude, I thoroughly enjoyed that film for sure.
I'll pick up where you left off. I also had a really good time with Furiosa. Took me a second to settle in to like whatever frame rate shit George Miller was cooking with. I don't know how he filmed this or why he filmed it the way he did with like the quick like zoom ins and quick motion and weird frame rate stuff. Like the movie just kind of looks a little like off, but like eventually once I settled into it, I was kind of really into it. I don't know. But yeah, this movie is kind of just dripping with style, and it's, you know, down to the soundtrack, the you know, the way the movie looks, more CGI than Fury Road, but like not in a bad way. Like I think Fury Road stands for what it is because of how practical it is, and that's, you know, a spectacle beholden of itself. But when you add in a CG element to it, you can do even more. And it all looks relatively good. Like there's only a few moments in that movie where I was like pulled out or anything like that. I don't think they overused the CG at all. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Furiosa. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is great. Chris Hemsworth is actually really good, I thought. And definitely had some good time. And there are definitely some cool action sequences, and it does, as Blake mentioned, set up Fury Road way better than I thought it was going to.
Oh, for sure. I didn't think it was going to be that at all.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be almost entirely separate, but it leads right into that movie, and I think that's awesome
for sure.
That they tie it in so much. So I really liked Furiosa. Now that being said, I scrubbed through the end of the episode that you guys did. I don't think you guys ranked it. I went to this end of spoilers, and I listened all the way up to what you guys talked about, or when you guys talked about what you're watching, basically, and I didn't hear a ranking. So I could have missed it somehow, but I don't know if you guys officially gave one. Now it's obviously gonna be a little bit skewed because you guys, I'm assuming, at least haven't watched it super recently, and it's been a little bit maybe since you've seen it. But we can go ahead and give a 4-way ranking here. Does anyone... Nathaniel, were you serious? Do you want it at number 1?
Let's see.
That's pretty.
I'm kind of thinking we take it as is. You said it, and I think we run with it. I like
Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, like Fury Road's at 12. So far from here, Furiosa is probably my movie of the year, I think, so far. Let's see, if I was looking at this accurately, not, you know, ignoring the terrible film in the first slot and just kind of looking at the rest of the list. Accurate.
I'm really tired of your bit.
Yeah, coming from this guy.
Yeah. Just that filler of a movie in the front spot, you know, that absolute dial tone of a second film in between. I think I would rank this
fighting words.
Furiosa, let's say I'm going to put it at 15, above Your Name, below Alien.
Yeah.
I was listening back. I got to about 45 minutes. And I do believe Nathaniel was right around like 1 or 2. He was very, very high on it. And
I must have put non-spoiler ending after your guys' ranking then.
The one number that I floated around was 5.
Shit.
So
stand by that.
Yeah, man, I kind of do.
Okay.
This movie was an absolute blast. I think I might. Yeah. No, I think I do.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay there. It's just an absolute blast for me. if Doom Part 2 wasn't in the picture, this definitely would be something that I would absolutely pledge for a ridiculously high spot. Not that 5 isn't obviously ridiculously high, especially for the amount of movies and the caliber of movies that we have on here. But yeah, man, something special came from that silver screen on that day when I went and saw Furiosa. And
I wish I did get to see this in theaters.
I'm with you.
It's an IMAX movie, dude.
I'm sorry.
It was an absolute blast, and
I think when they do that,
a lot into it for me.
When they do that siren, you guys know what I'm talking about, like the siren, like scream almost. I'm like just imagining myself like in an IMAX theater and like it's shaking my bones. I'm like, I can like try to place myself in that. I wish I could experience it for real. But I was like, that in a theater must be freaking awesome.
The bit where Octobot starts flying, I was just lost my shit. I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen when they're doing that, the war rig run and everything, and just the ending with what happens with him, what she ends up doing with Dementus is just chef's kiss.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Ranked it up there. Let's go. We're running long this episode, boys.
We are.
Yeah. Adam, what are you thinking? So far
I'm not near where they're at.
5 and 15, I think, is where we're at.
5 and 15 is where we're at.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna use Starship Troopers as probably my gatekeeper here, which is fuck Godzilla.
And Kill Bill.
Godzilla and Kill Bill, like, and Training Day. Like, I'm going back through the same motions here, but I don't want to drop it too low because I do really like this. I will say I do like it. You know what? We'll go Training Day. I like this better than the Northman. I think Training Day will be, and Kill Bill, I think that's a good spot for it. So I'm going to go 48.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at too. Above the Northman, then I think Kill Bill and Training Day were kind of the hard stops for me.
Yeah.
That being said, though, this film is fucking awesome and way better than it had any business being.
Agreed on both accounts. And if I had seen this in IMAX in theaters at the time of release, I unfortunately may feel different about it.
I think both you would, because when we were coming off the high, when we were doing the review and everything like that, I said that Blake was probably going to be like somewhere in like the top 10. I thought he was breaking top 10 for sure, and then I figured you were going to fall short at like mid to low 20s. So,
and that's unfortunate, but there's nothing we can do. One, there's nothing we can do now. It is what it is. We will move on. And two, that's the Entropist for you. You know, sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not. It's just it's all. You know, it's all chaos on that.
The Entropy list is a fickle bitch.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that she is.
Yes. Cool. Well, that gives us an even rating of 29, meaning we have to tiebreak it with the Green Knight.
Over the Green Knight for sure.
I'm over.
And I like the Green Knight a lot.
I also champion the Green Knight, and that it is on my list of rewatches come December. That is top of my list. So I have it on 4K actually. I'm looking at it right over there. But I don't think I've watched it since I've had it. So
I don't think I've watched it since theaters either.
But I'm excited to rewatch it. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are getting pretty long on time here, so let's move on here. Next week's review, it's either on the calendar. We have either Transformers 1 or Speak No Evil. And then Nathaniel booked The Killers?
Killer Game. That's the one with Dave Bautista where he finds out he has cancer and then puts out a hit on himself and then finds out he doesn't have cancer. And so then they're all going to try and kill him. But
also, that's not spoilers. That's all in the first preview.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't watch trailers anymore, so you really just ruined it for me. Thanks, Ty.
Mom,
I just talked about this, dude.
If we're
I'm
don't have one,
not the one that said that.
If we don't have one locked in, I am going to heavily advocate for the movie Rebel Ridge.
All right, This sounds like we
Netflix.
need This sounds like we need an intervention from Post-Pod Adam. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite host, Post-Pod Adam, coming at you with an update on what we are watching next week. Of course, after some deliberation, we decided to watch the movie Rebel Ridge, which is currently streaming on Netflix, so you can go check it out over there and then join us for our review of that next week. And really quick, while I have you here, I just want to express here as Post-Pod Adam my deep gratitude for being an honorary 5th member of this podcast and how much I really love and appreciate all 4 members of the Back Row crew. And, of course, all of you listeners there at home. It's not often that you get to hear from Post-Pod Adam over here, but I just want to know how much I appreciate everybody here at Back Row Banter.
Yep.
Again, dude, I hate that guy, dude.
Yeah, you're telling me, bro. It adds editing time. All right.
Worst member
I don't
of the
like when he
pod.
shows up either. All right, I'm over it, bro. I've got to edit this tonight. All right,
Post-Pod
Doug? I
Adam.
can't edit tomorrow.
What do you pay that guy?
Yeah.
Fucking nothing, bro. He gets paid less than me.
Post-Pod Adam's not a member of the pod. He's an interloper.
It's actually Adam's just like doppelganger.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
not
evil
actually
Adam.
It's just
Could you
Adam.
imagine?
It's just Adam without his glasses on.
And a mustache.
I am without
Is
my
it,
glasses most of the time.
I know.
Yeah.
Going back to our pod
But I just
joke,
get like a
is the doppelganger of Adam? Is it him without glasses, but like he's effectively black, but like he looks the exact same?
I would love it for like one video episode when I insert Post-Pod Adam. It's like we cut to like me and it's just like an alter ego.
Yeah. Reverse.
But in that scenario, Blake, I can't do blackface, so I don't.
Oh,
think,
for sure, yeah,
yeah, I don't think we.
that'd be a
could
good
do that.
decision.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
Drake can do it, why can't you?
You know,
Yeah, you made it.
I think we need to move on. Okay. Watch whatever that schmuck Post-Pod Adam told you to watch. And then join us for our review next week. Share the podcast with a friend, a family member, maybe a cop who's stuck underground for months and needs something to listen to. Also, side note, imagine the stink of those cops when they came out of that cave. That's what I thought of when they got out. But anyway, sewer, cave.
Call it a cave.
Dude, semantics. All right, they came out of a dark hole.
Jesus, just wrap it
I
up
need to
here.
cut-
No pun.
I might need to
we're
cut that one.
struggling.
Yeah. Twitter, follow us there. Banter Row. YouTube is Back Row Banter. Our email is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder.
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging things, rating them out of 5 stars. PSN, Mr. Water Cooler. Xbox, Mr. Water Cooler. Yeah, we'll keep moving. Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at.and. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Tyler?
You can find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and X, all Tyler Vidales, Vidales. Adam, get us out.
You can find me on Twitter at H24 and on Letterboxd at H. That's AYYSH. Really quick, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. That was a tough one to see as I opened up my phone the other day. But of course, you know, he passed away at the ripe young age of 93. And at least, you know, we can say we're fortunate enough to get 93 years out of that man, and also fortunate enough to not have his life cut short by some kind of horrible disease or something like that. So, you know, everyone's got to go at some point. He seems like he had a really great life and certainly had a really great career as an actor. And he will certainly be missed and certainly will be remembered. So rest in peace, Mr. Jones. But I think that'll do it here for episode 205, The Dark Knight Rises. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you guys next week. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Have you gone, Blake, and listened to like what your mics sound like? It's like robotic underwater though. Like it adds another layer to it. It's kind of great.
It's weird, but it's not every single time.
No. Like it'll sometimes just happen like mid sentence. Like
Yeah.
I have no answer for it. If it's not the mic,
then it's got to be the computer. I mean, that's basically where we're
computer
at.
or the internet. But I don't.
Because you swapped
I don't think it's internet though.
I was gonna say, does your internet struggle with anything else?
No, not at all. No.
So then, like, it shouldn't be internet. It's not like what you're doing is requiring that much bandwidth. Like, so it's got to be computerified, I guess. And like I said, those MacBook Airs aren't the best.
Not the USB that it could be plugged into too, right? Or is it going from a hub?
Did you get all that, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I did.
It's like in like it reminds me of like Spy Kids 1 when like they like
is a madman,
prisoners,
help us, save us.
Yeah, they have to talk backwards. Shout out Spy Kids. Shout out Glenn Powell and Spy Kids.
Shout out.
You guys ever watch those? Or is that just like a Gen Z thing? I don't know.
No, those were around when we were younger. Because I
were you guys,
like that was
were they popular for you guys?
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, not like
a
for
reference
me to watch, but I also have younger siblings. So, but they were definitely. It's not like I hated them when they were on. Dude. That was like the ultimate. That was like the ultimate diss. I would go around walking around telling people they were thumbs, dude. I'm like, you're a fucking thumb, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
It was like 99, 2000 that was.
That's somewhere around there.